So this probably is a pre-recording for some day on which I don't either feel like recording, don't have the time or the energy or whatnot. And today I do have quite everything. Time and energy and the willpower and the willingness to do so as well. On the other hand, it is just the audio, which on one hand is extremely interesting, is way easier to record than with video, even though I'm kind of doing the same thing, and even though I'm saying the same thing, and even though it's the same process more or less, but it is easier. It feels like I can do more, I can say more and doing more and saying more in terms of like living it a bit more, I guess. Anyway, let's see. I'm here on Reddit and I'm hoping to find some interesting thoughts. Thought of the day. Your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Which is tremendously right. Because why should other people even be able to decrease your value? Well, they can. I mean, if you think about your boss and or somebody that is higher in hierarchy than you are, of course, this person, by saying things about you, whether they are right or wrong, the truth or just a lie, they can indeed decrease or increase your value. But the normal and regular person in life, no, this person can't. And even though I do think that being associated with people that are of high value makes sense for one and is a good thing, which means your friends primarily. Of course, you can't do much about your family members, but you can limit time with them or increase time based on who they are, probably. And it's totally fine if you do decrease or maybe even cut them out of your life, which may or may not be easy in terms of the act of doing it and also kind of the thought process of doing something like that. I mean, you're basically cutting out the person, maybe, if it is your mother, that brought you to this place. So, yeah. Anyway, today I learned that graffiti artist Banksy, who is incredible, sought to trademark his image of a protester throwing flowers. The trademark office denied it on the grounds of him having no interest in selling his work. In the ruling, they used a quote from one of Banksy's books, "Copyright is for losers." Well, I guess he fucked himself. But I guess it got reproduced quite often, which may be a reason for him trying to trademark it. But yeah. It's difficult. On one hand, I gotta have to say, yeah, it's been the right decision of this office, saying like, okay, you're an artist and stuff, so, and then you have said it as well yourself. Yeah. I found my purpose. No, not that interesting to me. I made more progress on my first font, which looks good, I guess. Do not go on your phone right before bed or right when you wake up, which, it is something so typical people say. Don't check your phone, don't check social media. In particular, the second you get up and whatnot. Guess what I do? I do so. And guess how I feel? I feel quite good about myself, about what I do, and then everything else. I mean, it is such a minor thing. Of course, if it is really bothering you, if you're just seeing people that make you feel bad about yourself and whatnot, then don't do it. But if it is just something that you couldn't care less about, why the fuck should you kind of cut that out? I mean, it basically is a waste of time, yeah. This is something that I have to admit. I think we all have to admit. Social media, most often it depends on, of course, what you're doing with it is a waste of time. But, big but, you can also use it and you can choose to use it for smart things, doing smart things with it. For example, what example could I give you? Like marketing, your brand, and all of those things, and doing the research, seeing what other people are doing, seeing what the market is like, all of these things. But obviously, if you just waste your time and feel like wasting your time, then you're wasting your time. Anyway, amazing placement. These posters raised awareness about homeless people. Looks quite okay. A bad place for a poster, an even worse place for a bat, and which is kind of on the street, like a poster flat on the street somehow. If this poster were a homeless person, then most people wouldn't even look down. And there's a poster that is half of it is on a wall, and quite half of it is on the ground, so it's like pretty dynamic. I think it is amazing. I think it is a really great idea. Even though, the wording could be better at my point of view, but, anyway. Anyway. Best sounding name for a graphic design focused startup. I know these might not sound the best. If you were to choose, which one would you go for? First 3 letters are name initials and not related to sandwiches or Subway, lol. Subs designs, no. Simply subs or sub simply. Well, having a design company and naming it with something like design, which, something that I did, self-development with tactics, kind of, I don't, at this point, I wouldn't do so. I would, it's boring quite, there's tons of people that are doing that and so forth. So on the other hand, it is just a name. Of course, it makes sense to research things if there's a name that already exists, or if this name already exists and is used by somebody. Then on multiple platforms, by the way, of course, sometimes Instagram might be fine to use this name, but then on Twitter, somebody's already using it. On the other hand, there shouldn't be any associations people can have with this certain thing. So subs, if you think about Subway, like, this is already a good sign. I don't know. You could use it in terms of, okay, people already know it, so I'm gonna use it on purpose. On the other hand, I do think that name should possibly be simple, and naming indeed can change how a product is perceived in the way of some names associate or tell you certain things. I don't remember the exact examples, but names that are ending on an I or something, they they kind of sound more a certain way than names that are ending on an A. The feeling of the name. There's actually some really great resources that I had to learn for my A levels about naming and branding and stuff like that. And yeah. And then obviously, even though it is something they said, and the pages that I had to read, or the content that I had to read, they said like, wow, there should be association with what you're doing and the brand name and stuff like that. But, I really don't agree with that. Yahoo, do you see a browser? Do you think about a browser? Yeah. Obviously right now you do, because you know the name, you know the brand. Also Nike, yeah. I think this is a really good example. Nike sounds dynamic. Nike, which is like, I think about the swoosh, to be honest, and I think about Nike. It feels like it feels like the swoosh, to really be honest, even though it sounds stupid, but it feels like the swoosh. Might also be due to me knowing the swoosh and me knowing the, Nike as a name and stuff like that. Anyway, if you think about Reddit, what does Reddit sound like? Reddit. It's quick. Reddit. Yeah, it's really quick. Reddit. Whereas Nike is like, Nike is Adidas. Which is, it feels different. It feels more stable than Nike. Nike is so dynamic. Adidas is dynamic. Not dynamic, but stable. Something that's, that's massive. Something that's staying there and you can't push it over something. Maybe something else. Some other company. I'm just looking around in my room, but I'm just seeing some that nobody would know. Ford Motors. Ford. What does Ford sound like? Ford. I mean, I shouldn't look at the brand. What are the logo? Ford. What does Ford sound like? Ford. I'm driving a Ford. It's not elegant. I don't think about Ford. I don't know, but when I think about Ferrari, it's like, even though, I mean, it is really difficult to say so. When it is about some names that are already associated and connotated with a certain image quite. Because if I think about Ferrari, then obviously I think about something elegant. If I say Ford, I don't necessarily think about something elegant. I think about something that's, more truck-like, because of whatever reason. I don't know. Let's see if there's some other things that I can find. Realism is a sober philosophy. Rejecting it brings both the pleasures and the dangers of drunkenness. Timothy Williamson. That's amazing. Attempts to resist realism, misunderstands the distinction between knowledge and truth. Something I wrote during physical and mental discomfort. Today I learned about the craze of pet rocks in 1975. For about 6 months, they sold over 1 million pet rocks for $4 each. It was just a rock in a box with some straw and a care manual for tricks to teach. The creator had the idea in a bar as his friends complained about their pets. Well, I think it is insane that they made fucking $4 million from pet rocks. Minus probably there is going to be some expenses as well, but it is still quite some money made. More money made than most people, I assume, I guess I would say. But I know it from SpongeBob. The question now is it something that SpongeBob took because they wanted to make fun out of it? Which, by the way, as I've been getting older, I think I could say so. I have seen that certain kids' movies, they are really good, but one does not understand them as a child. But you rather understand them if you're getting old, and if you just see things, understand things, can understand dynamics, can understand social issues and whatnot. And then they're really, really, really good and really interesting and really well done. Anyway, I think that I'm going to end the episode there. I'm a little bit concerned about my battery life. I'm just having 2% left. Gonna see you the next time. Bye-bye, and wish you the best.